Okay, you're looking at a pic again from November the 28th, 1915, and Oxford seems to be getting a little more attention. You're looking at a picture of the Alabama Power Company gas holder and plant at Anniston, and I really don't know where that's at. If you're living in Anniston and you know the location on that, how about letting me know? I've got a guess or two, but the gas holder, that's I've never heard of that. I know that Anniston was one of the first towns around to have the Edison power plant, and I don't know if that's what that is or not. It could be, and that'd be around on what 4th, 5th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and Noble, somewhere along in there. I don't know. But going up here, it says Oxford Lake. This will be under the direct management of the company this coming season. Okay, so 1915, is that when Alabama Power strictly takes over the management of Oxford Lake? Previous to that, and I don't recall, but the video we've already gone over, I've mentioned a couple of entities that wasn't exactly Alabama Power that ran the Oxford Lake line, at least, and I'm sure took care of the lake too. But is this 1915? Is that the date that Alabama Power took it over because they owned it? It says the lake has been drained again, and to remove the moss. And again, in the year 2024, it needs that again. It's got moss in there. It used to have a lot of lily pads. They got rid of those, but the moss is coming back big time, and they need to do something with that. And it says, on the Oxford Lake line, an additional passing point will be installed at once to give better service between Oxford and Anniston. 2 new bridges have been put in on the Oxford Lake line, and I can't really imagine where those were. I have no idea where the bridges were. The 5-cent fare from Anniston to Oxford Lake will not be increased to 10 cents, but kept at 5 cents the year round. Okay. And this was 1915. I don't know when the Oxford Lake line finally poofed. Later on in my lifetime, there was it was buses. We would take buses from Oxford to Anniston, and it'd come right by my house, and we'd catch the bus and go to Anniston, the bus line. But this was in my time. But I don't know when the Oxford Lake line finally poofed. But just interesting news about Alabama Power. Alabama Power Company alert to everything for the advancement of Anniston and Calhoun County. Alright, this is kind of a biggie. This is from the Birmingham Age-Herald, Sunday, July the 6th, 1919. Now, if you kept up with your history, you know that we went to war in 1918. It was called World War I, and we went to Europe. Well, the boys are back. Okay, and it was kind of a big deal around here. Anniston entertains her soldiers with big welcoming celebration. Big welcoming celebration. On Friday afternoon, maids and matrons used their cars to take the soldiers to points of interest in Anniston. Some of the men visited Oxford Lake, where swimming, rowing, and other privileges of the popular resort were offered free to the soldiers. And I want to go back up here. I'm not generally a name dropper, but I think I'll mention a couple here. It says above this, it says joining the tables on Quintard. This is earlier. Joining the tables on Quintard, that's the road in Anniston. Tables with the soldiers for the picnic dinners brought by the people from all over the county, and in connection with a basket dinner, barbecued meats prepared under the skillful direction of Mr. Leo Pruitt. One of the loveliest girls in Calhoun County, Miss Janie Constantine. Does that ring a bell? Assisted in making the soldiers' dinner a success and in entertaining. And it says Miss Amy Cooper and Mrs. J.H. Wilson of Oxford also rendered valuable assistance. 2 airplanes from Taylor Field in Montgomery arrived at Camp McClellan, which is just north of Anniston, And at 11 o'clock, and while thousands of spectators were taking part in the homecoming demonstration, this being in 1919, the whirl of the airplane's motors mingled with the cheers of the happy crowd. The aviators loop to loop demonstrated nose-diving, tail-spinning, and other thrilling stunts, adding interest and enthusiasm to the brilliant pageant. I can only imagine. And it goes on again to say about the men visited Oxford Lake, which is why we are on this article. But that's from 1919. Our soldiers have come home to a big greeting. Birmingham Age-Herald, Thursday, August 21st, 1919. The joint talking about Labor Day. The Central Labor Union of Anniston and the American Legion on Labor Day promises to be the greatest event of the kind ever put on in Anniston. A big barbecue at Oxford Lake at the noon hour will bring thousands of people. Once again, Oxford's not that big. Neither is Anniston, really. But especially little Oxford will bring thousands of people. Where do these people stay? I don't know. And it says the big celebration have perfected an organization which will give the people of Calhoun County more entertainment than ever before in the history of the city. Well, I can believe that. And this is on Labor Day. But while I was looking at that, I scrolled down just a piece, and I found something else interesting. Now this will be of more interest to people who live in the area. It says board selects route or route. Definite selection of the Lee Mill Friendship route for the Calhoun County part of the Horse Block and Ivy Mountains trunk line into Fishhead Valley, and the official announcement that the Calhoun County authorities will build a road to the first crossing of Hillaby Creek just beyond the old Hawkins place, and the certainty that the work on the road will be started early in the month of September are important and definite developments in the road situation in Anniston, Oxford this week. Alright, well, number one, this is a road well known to people in Oxford particularly, and also points that way, whichever, headed toward Clay County. And Hillaby Creek. There's a Hillaby Creek watershed there now, but back in the day it was Hillaby Creek, which has been in my lifetime. You would cross Hillaby Creek to go on to Delta, Alabama, and other places. But this is the start of it. There wasn't this road. This is where it all began. So people, particularly in the southern part of Oxford, who live on that stretch, will be interested to know, and people in the Fishhead Valley. I looked up the Fishhead Valley. There is such a thing. It's still there. And it is in the vicinity of Delta, Alabama. I had no clue. This is a new one on me. But this is an example of a road that's been here forever, but you know, at this point in time, this is where it all began. So it's something you run into. Looking for other stuff. That's the fun of looking at old newspapers. You never know what you're going to find. Just stuff you didn't expect. The Birmingham Age-Herald, Monday, August 25th, 1919. Now this is an interesting piece, I must admit. It says, this is Labor Day programming. Interesting way they spelled it. With Labor Day only a full week off, the joint plans of the Central Labor Union and the American Legion celebration on that day are rapidly taking shape. Chief among the feature events of the afternoon are stuff. There's it says junction of Mulberry Avenue and 15th, which Mayor J. Weichel is the name was known around here, will and members of the police force riding on the two big city fire trucks will be invited to lead through the streets to the corner of 9th and Noble. But down here it says, after the parade and the watermelon party to be held on Noble Street between 9th and 10th Streets, the crowds of people will go to Oxford Lake for a typical southern barbecue of beef, mutton, pork, and Brunswick stew will be served to the crowd. Listen to this, estimated to be at least 6,000. I can't imagine 6,000 people in Oxford today. It just blows my mind to think little Oxford could have 6,000 people. But at any rate, that's the kind of doings that we're doing back then. They were having a blast. Why are we not having a blast? That's all I want to know. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I told you about 20 pages back we were almost done, and we are done. And if permitted, I'd like to sort of end where I began, with a description of Oxford Lake Park. It says, this beautiful pleasure resort, 4 miles south of Anniston, and within easy reach of the electric car line, one of the best equipped and managed systems in the country, at the head of which is Mr. Howard W. Sexton, one of Anniston's most enterprising and public-spirited citizens, is a popular resort, patronized not only by the people of Anniston, Oxana, and Oxford, but from abroad. Excursions from all over the state are run during the season, and the fame of its attractions is widespread. I want you to think Six Flags Over Georgia, if you're familiar with that, or a really big resort in your area. Oxford Lake is fed by springs from the coldest, purest water and stocked with fish. Boating is one of the delightful pastimes, and the lake is well supplied with boats. Bathhouses and swimming pools for both ladies and gentlemen, complete in all their appointments, are at hand. The bowling alleys are of the finest to be had, and every evening the alleys furnish innocent and recreative sport for the pleasure seekers. You know, when I was just a kid, the bowling alley was still there. It was a little handball, little ball, and I think they had 4 or 5 lanes. And as a kid, you could go down and get a job setting up the pins, and the people would bowl down the aisle, and they would knock the pins down, and you're sitting up on a ledge, right, with your feet up, a wooden ledge above where the pins are, and they'd bowl you, and you'd hop down, set the pins back up, and you get it. I think it was like a nickel a set. Everybody around the neighborhood did it, except for me. My mother wouldn't let me. To this day, I cannot tell you why, but I never got to set up the pins at the bowling alley. I guess she's afraid I'd get hurt. I think some of them did get knocked in the head, so you know, it happened. But anyway, it was bowling, of the sort. It says a large pavilion for dancing is at the disposal of private and select parties who delight in the mazes of the waltz. Baseball, and football fields are spacious and well kept, and large and comfortable grandstands afford a splendid view for enthusiasts of the national sports. An electric carousel or merry-go-round with its orchestral accompaniment. We had that in my day. And vitoscope pictures of humorous and patriotic subjects and picturesque scenes are given. Songs illustrated by these moving pictures are sung by local talent and prove an interesting feature of the summer season. The grounds are brilliantly lighted at night with electric lights. The pretty island is a cozy retreat with its cool, inviting summer house. Aha! There was never a house on the island in my day. And is romantic with the surroundings. You better bet hopping in one of those rowboats going around the lake was romantic. Flowers and vegetation flourish luxuriously and beautifully, studding the bosom of this beautiful lake. Here lovers find a something place, and under the, oh my word, you know what that word is, I don't. Trees, sweethearts plight their faith while Cupid seems to. I'm not going there. Okay, that's getting too sexy. So that ends our. By the way, just in case you were curious, this is from the Age-Herald, September 1901. That ends our trek through Oxford Lake and Oxford history, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope, particularly if you're really interested, I hope you learned something that you didn't know, because I sure did. And again, I'm going to post all the links to my stuff, okay? And you're welcome to bring them up and read to your heart's content, and maybe find some stuff I missed, interesting things. And if you do, send me a comment. All right, take care till next time. Toodles.